Welcome back to the Super Show. We're halfway through day one here with David Fanucchi of East High, the Blades, in next, and veteran coach, been around a while and had I guess a rough year last year. But I remember you coming here last year and saying you kind of knew that was coming. You had such a young team, and now maybe you get the dividends of that, where some of those guys who went through that last year and learned some of the lessons can now be veterans for you.
Well, that's
right?
definitely what we're banking on and we're hoping for. Yeah, we especially late in the year when we got into league, we lost some close football games, and hopefully we've learned from that, and it's going to be the difference this year.
And I know one of those guys coming back, Ray Marquez, who we know from track season, a lot of speed. He's going to carry the ball for you. He's going to kind of be your headliner, right?
Oh yeah, he can make you look like a good football coach. We put him out in the slot last year and tried to get him the ball. Be a little more creative, and maybe I didn't look like such a great football coach last year because I really don't think he got enough touches for us. And so we're putting him back at tailback this year where he's going to see the ball a lot more.
So what was he doing last year most of the time then?
Well, we were trying to get him the ball out in space
Okay.
and fly sweep and bubble screens and be that kind of slot receiver guy and see if we could get him the ball, out in space more.
Sure, and you can see 18 catches, 431 yards. That's 24 yards per catch. So when he got it, he was making plays for you. He just didn't get it enough.
Just didn't get it enough.
And 3 touchdowns, including an 89-yarder last year for him. At quarterback, Dave, you had a couple of juniors last year, I know, get quite a few reps. What's the story there in camp this year?
You know what? I really like our quarterback situation right now. We've got Ricardo Mendoza, who stepped in the second half of the season last year and was really a big part of why we played better late in the year. And he's back. And then also up competing with him is a sophomore. A young man by the name of Richard Lara comes up from our freshman team. Just a tremendous athlete. And so we feel pretty good at the quarterback position right now.
Dave, we had David Coldiron from Miramonte on the previous segment, and he's kind of in the same boat you are, where you guys are going to year number 3 in your programs. You've been around this town long enough. What have you changed or what have you brought in and kind of realized what the culture is at East and what you guys need to do? And you've got now guys that are juniors or seniors that have been in your program for 2 years and going in year number 3 as well. What are you learning from those kids and from the culture at East that you're able to do as a coach?
What we've tried to do and what we've been stressing is the process and is the commitment for the long run. Our seniors last year, as an example, when we had our senior night last year, we introduced 9 seniors. And of those 9 seniors, only 4 of them had played 4 years of high school football.
That's really incredible.
And it's very difficult to build a program.
And having coached at Garces and some of the places you've been before, that's eye-opening.
Yeah. And so it was a very big difference. And so you turn that around now to this year where we have 25 returning players, which includes some sophomores we had up last year, but guys now who've had that experience who are returning. And so they've got that level of expectation. They understand what's expected of them. They also have come off, I think we've done a great job. My lower level coaches have done an outstanding job. These guys have all come in, have won championships on the lower levels, have won 7, 8, 9 games every year at the lower levels. So they've been winning. They've had that success. And, it doesn't always translate into the varsity, but it does. It brings a level of expectancy and some confidence. And so I think that's going to help us a lot.
You guys ended last year and obviously a little tipsy-turvy there at the end. How hungry are these guys to get back and actually start hitting somebody else after the way 2015 ended for you?
Oh, they very much they are. And, like you said, our league season, Ridgeview kind of got after us, and they did that to a lot of teams in our league. Right. And so outside of Ridgeview, the Tehachapi game was the mud game when the highway was closed. But our other league games, we lost each of those by a touchdown. And a couple of them we were ahead in the fourth quarter, and we had opportunities to win those games. And we just weren't able to kind of take that final step. And, again, with that experience back, we hope to be able to seal the deal this year.
Yeah, you can really see it looking at your game-by-game. 34-27 lost to Independence, and then a 28-21 loss to Golden Valley. Either one of those would have been a nice little feather in the cap.
In the West High game as well.
In the year in West High a couple weeks before that.
Yep.
That looks a lot different than 55-7 to Highland, 33-10 to South. Not to dredge up these memories, but it just shows the growth. You had a young team, and they did what they were supposed to do. They got better.
They did, and you know what? it says a lot about them because, they had a lot of opportunities early if that was their personality to kind of check out. We had some very difficult losses early in the year, but they stuck with it, and it says a lot about them.
This year, does the offense, I mean, obviously the offense was playing a lot better at the end of last year. Do you see that is where the biggest leap is for this team or on the other side of the ball? I mean, is there a specific area you can point to?
Well, when you're 1-8, we need to get better in a lot of areas.
Across the board.
Yeah, and so both of them need to step up. But no, definitely offensively. We need to control the football better. Keep your defense off the field. And so that's not going to be any different than it's always been. And like I said, I feel like we have the guys this year that we can move the ball.
Well, who does that start with on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, you know what? As usual, it always starts up front.
Right.
And to be honest with you, that's kind of right now where we're trying to rebuild a little bit is up front. There's a young man by the name of Angel Baez who's only going to be a junior. He was a guy who was one of our sophomores last year, but somebody we're really looking forward to, even as a junior, to kind of anchor our offensive line. Him and Ray Herrera, who last year was a second league defensive end. He's going to be playing a little bit on offense as well. We moved him over the offensive line. And so, those are two guys that we really look to anchor our line. But then again, when you go back to the skill position guys, again, you start with a guy like Raymond. But then we have people like John Monroe and Kenny Holmes, Alan Lopez. These are all guys who can make big plays for us.
Yeah, if that line can do the job, you have a chance to be a pretty exciting offensive team, I think.
I think we can be, yeah.
That you get the ball to. David, let's talk about your league a little bit. The South Yosemite League is so tough. Obviously at the top with Ridgeview, two-time defending section champion. Tehachapi, we know how good they can be. Golden Valley is usually very competitive. West High has made the semifinals in the last couple of years. This is the last year of the cycle of this configuration of the league, and so it's possible at the end of this school year, early next summer, that changes.
Right.
In your opinion, does East High belong in this league? Would you rather see East in the SEYL, where maybe more schools geographically closer to you, sort of those neighborhood schools are, or do you think East does belong in the SYL?
You know what? I think East does belong in the SYL, and it's it's a very challenging league, but we like that challenge, and I'm looking to get us to step up and to face that challenge. But on the other hand, you're right. There are some geographical rivalries that are up there, and that's exciting as well. And so, regardless of the league that we're in, we just have to raise our level of play, regardless of who we're playing, and just get better as a program.
Sure, and there's certainly times in East High's history where they have been just as competitive as any of those teams, and for far longer. So, I mean, it's the talent level is there if you can cultivate it. Taking a look at the schedule, you open up next Friday with Delano. Who do you scrimmage against this week?
We scrimmage Shafter.
Shafter. Okay, so Coach Perucci's
Yeah,
out there.
Gerald and I were
Oh,
just
you guys
speaking, yes.
are you gonna stay and listen to hear what Gerald has
Oh
to
yeah,
say?
I'll stay and listen to
We'll
Gerald.
get some X's and O's talk, all right, for you. But you open with your first 4 games at home. You have Delano North and Highland at home. The road trip is to Miramonte, and we just saw Coach Cold Iron in here as well.
I mean, that really looks like a preseason schedule that could maybe, just like we talked about, maybe could be the league schedule too. Because you got North Miramonte, Highland, and Foothill that are all SEYL teams.
Exactly.
So that's interesting for you to look at that too, and maybe gauge how you guys play against those programs to how you play against your league teams later on in November and October, right?
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much a flip flop of the two leagues.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and if you better be taking care of business early because your last 4 are 3 of 4 on the road, and it's Tehachapi, Independence, and Golden Valley, and who's the home game? It's Ridgeview. So,
Right.
and you look at that Tehachapi game too. That might be a big one for Mr. Steve Denman.
Oh yeah, I
that's
know.
true. Yeah,
That's right
That's
there.
our luck to
That's
roll right in.
there in that
Yeah.
window
Yep.
between like September 27th and like your game, where that's where number 300 may come.
we're going to talk to Steve tomorrow, and he won't even let us talk about that, but he's going
heck
for his
no.
300th victory. Right. Anyway, but for your team, that is such a challenging finishing stretch for you. But that's how you'd like it, I think. You'd like to grow just like you did last year and maybe be more competitive towards the end of the year and play the better teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
on paper, the better teams, I should
sure,
say.
and I understand. And no disrespect again to anybody that we're playing, but you're right. We have a very tough league schedule, and but but it's going to go back to how we come out of the gate this year. And last year, like I said, we stumbled, yet we still kept improving, which was great. This year, if we can get some wins under our belt, then hopefully that'll catapult us again into league.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else about the program? Because I know that's something you talked about when you were introduced at East High. You really wanted to build a program.
Right.
You mentioned the lower levels have had some success. starting the youth program up. How are things going in the overall scope of East High football?
Overall, it's going really well. It really is. Like I said, I heard Dave speaking earlier when he was on, and I think like a lot of the schools on the east side, and maybe everywhere in town, our numbers, we're challenged to get to get a lot of kids out. We're in the mid-30s on our roster right now. But you know what? Again, as Dave said, I like the guys that we have. I love our kids. We've really got a committed group of guys, and so we're developing that commitment in the offseason, developing that understanding of the dedication and what it takes. And if we can continue with that, and we can continue to build that in our lower levels, then I think we'll have nothing but success down the road.
I wish we never had to utter the words, if you stay healthy. But
Yeah.
that's going to be the case for 90% of the teams we talk to.
Yep.
Things could be pretty good if you stay healthy, and I know that's going to be the case for you. But Coach David Fanucchi at East High, we wish you good luck this year, and appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
All right, that's East High's David Fanucchi. I got to check my schedule now. We're getting to that point of the day. Oh, Jared Perucci of Shafter. He's already out there. He's coming up next here on the BVarsity Super Show. Back after this.
One thing about living in Kern County is all these great rivalries.